Good to see everybody. Good to have so many people here. Good to have our players here. So excited to get started. So see what you guys got.
Hey Matt, you talked yesterday about you would talk to the quarterbacks about how you're going to divide up reps. Have you?
I haven't had that. Yeah, they're reporting, they're in stuff. So we'll meet this evening. So I know it's killing you guys. I apologize, but we'll meet with those guys.
What goes into the decision of what are you considering when you're looking at who gets this many reps and who gets that many reps?
Just the best plan to give everybody a chance to learn what they're doing, showcase what they're doing, making sure guys, we install some plays, making sure everyone has a chance to run as many as possible, give them situations. So,
when you bring Baker in that, does that even mean more of sort of a development year for Corral?
He's been very clear with me that that's not his approach. I want us to be a competitive team. I mean, I talk about competition all the time. I mean, you got to fight for what you want. Again, my job is not to pick the starting quarterback. I have to make that decision, but it's the guys play. So, Russell Wilson walked into a situation in Seattle with, Matt Flynn, who had just had a guaranteed contract, and Charlie Whitehurst, they just traded for, and he won the job. So I want competition. The best player will play.
Matt, have you decided PUP and stuff yet?
I have a 12:30 medical meeting to see. I've had no major bells raised yet. Then we have our conditioning test, which sometimes will eliminate that. We'll then add to that. So, as of right now, Shaq being the only one, but we'll know more probably this evening.
What's the timeline on him there?
He'll be ready for the first game, we believe. So. We'll be smart with him. He's played a lot of football. He'll come back. He'll practice. We'll try to bang the rust off of them. But, we're kind of taking it week by week.
Matt, when it comes to that quarterback situation, when do you want to ideally have a starter in place, or is it just when it happens, it happens?
Yeah, I'd love to have it before the Cleveland game. I think anytime you put timelines on things, you end up rushing to make bad decisions. To me, this is about very much being in the moment, but not making rash judgments. Some guys are gonna have good days, some guys are gonna have bad days. We'll have our 53 cut. Whenever we know, we're not gonna play games with it. When we kind of know, hey, this is our guy, we'll do it. But most teams in the NFL start two quarterbacks throughout the course of the year. So to me, it's our job to not just pick a starting quarterback. It's to make sure that we have four guys that can go in and win for us. So when we know, we'll know.
Matt, this being your third year, is there something you want to see first day, first week of practices, that maybe you didn't see in your first two seasons?
I think the biggest thing for me is just our players driving our standard of performance, our standard of execution and effort, our note taking, all those things. I mean, everyone knows what's expected. The vibe that I've gotten, the text messages I've gotten from guys the last week is guys are excited to be here. I mean, guys were showing up last night. Guys were coming in early. So I want that excitement to lead into our players saying, hey, this is how we do things. Not this is how Coach Rhule said he wants it done, or Phil. No, this is how we do things. And I think we is a very powerful statement. And, we have a lot of we right now. So, the older guys will lead the young guys in every way that they can.
Will there be anything different about your approach with training camp? Is the DBO sign still going to be there? Anything new?
Yeah, the DBO sign to me was like a step in a process. Kind of like, hey, if you're not going to do it, you're going to run over there and hit it. That kind of, to be quite honest, followed what Coach Belichick and some of those guys did, and Coach Flores, like they had it. Then the next year they kind of transitioned away from it. In fact, we jumped off sides one time in the spring, and Shaq and Frankie started screaming for the guy on offense that he had to go run to the DBO sign. I was like, hey, it's not there anymore. To me now, we have so much competition that the punishment now is just kind of coming. You jump off sides, you just kind of come out, and someone else takes that rep. And, you can only kind of do that when you have a pretty talented roster, a lot of competition. We have a ton of competition. I know everyone's going to focus on one of them, but there's a lot of competition. And so, but to answer your question, there's a lot of things I'm going to do differently because we're in year three. As a coach, the first 2 years, you're kind of setting the foundation, now kind of all on the same page. One thing I think we do a great job of is we have a lot of fun at camp. And, we do a lot of things to entertain guys. And so we'll continue to do that, continue to work hard, but there'll be a lot of different approaches.
Matt, DJ referenced that this morning talking about the competitiveness, and it's almost like a spillover from the quarterbacks to a lot of other areas. Do Do you sense, I mean, can that energy change the way other guys approach the year?
Yeah, I just think this. Every guy on our team's competing. Now, you might not be competing for your job. You might be we all know you're the starter, right? Taylor Moton is the starting right tackle, but he's also, though, competing against all the great rushers he's going to face all year long. I mean, he has to have a better camp than them. So that spirit of competition, that was a focus for us in the spring. I think you guys all saw us end with the, kind of the Panther games as a fun way to do that. This team, they love to compete. If I say, hey, let's go run 40s, they look at me like I'm nuts. I say, hey, let's see who the fastest guy is, and they run forever. So they're competitively spirited. I do think that having a competition at the top at quarterback, I think the feedback I've gotten from the players is it will bring out the best in everyone. I just think that every player on our team doesn't need to worry about that competition. They all have to worry about their own competition for their role, for their spot, but also for their standard of play when the season comes.
Matt, we know Shaq Thompson is here, but with him starting on the PUP list, how does a team replace everything a guy like Shaq brings to practice and to training camp?
Yeah, I think a couple things. Number one, I think this is a tremendous time for Shaq. When you're sitting in meetings and you're not evaluating your own performance, you're hearing all the coaching points, you're sometimes mentoring the young guys, your mastery of the defense takes a step forward. I think it's a great chance for Shaq because he's loved by his teammates, so he can say things and guys don't take it personally. I think it's a good chance for him to step back and watch practice, watch meetings, and reinforce standards, really elevate himself as a leader even more. And he's someone, I think he and I told him, I said, hey, I'm going to consider you kind of like an assistant coach during this process. And, we're going to visit, we're going to talk, we're going to do those things. So I think this could be really good for him. He played really good football last year. Like when you watch Shaq, especially when he's healthy, I thought he played Pro Bowl caliber football. Thought he affected games and made plays. And while it's unfortunate that, he's missing some time, I can't wait to see him come back healthy and be able to play, a lot longer at the standard he's capable of.
Did that develop during the season then?
I think it's just wear and tear over time. I think it's just kind of a vestige of being an older player and going in there and just cleaning some things out and fixing them up.
How do you make it Sam's personality to making you feel comfortable with bringing a Baker in to compete for the job? Because, Cleveland brought in Deshaun and Baker wants out. A lot of quarterbacks might ask for a trade. We haven't heard Sam asking for that. So does his personality help make this a healthy competition?
Yeah, well, I think I said it yesterday. I think Sam's just a tremendous person. Like he's just the way he handled this in terms of the approach he took was team first. And I think, at the end of the day, Sam's taken a very stoic approach of I'm going to control what I can control, and I can't control anything else other than this. So, he's such a good person. I don't worry about anything like that. At the end of the day, he's got a chance to go out there and compete, and I think that's all he wants. And so I expect Sam to have a really good camp.
Christian says he's healthy and ready to go. Did you do anything different with him this year than you did in previous years to just try to manage the situation and keep him healthy longer?
Yeah, I think as we've said, we're going to do maybe a couple things different in training camp, but I think our training camps with Christian have been right. I think he's entered the season and been really healthy and productive early. So, but he is a year older. So I think as players get older, we're going to, they get a little bit more, break in time and all those things. So we might give them some time here and there. In terms of in the season, I think we've, said, hey, we're going to try a couple different things which I'm not going to really talk specifically about now. But at the end of the day, he's a great player. And so great players want to be on the field and they want to affect the game. And so, I'm not spending my time worrying about, hey, will Christian get hurt? Running backs get banged up in this league a lot. When he does get banged up, if he does, I want to make sure we get him back as fast as possible. So we're trying to have as good a plan for him as we can have. But I also want him to be great and go out and affect the game. And I think Christian McCaffrey, where he's at, where he was this spring, where he's at, I'm just so excited to see what he could do.
Coach, this morning, Baker Mayfield arrived.
We're going to take this question, and then we're going to take one more question. We'll take you, finish up with Joe.
This morning, Baker Mayfield arrived with Shaq Thompson. He's a leader of the team in Shaq. How significant is that to you, and that the leaders are accepting Baker, and that Baker's wanting to hang out with guys that are leaders of this team?
Yeah, I think I think we have such a good locker room. Like I walk in the facility the other day, I see Corral in there with Rambo. So they, I think those guys did that throwing session. Ben said, Sam came in with Moo, Terrace, Marshall. I mean, we don't have a bad guy. We have a bunch of good guys, and so I wouldn't read too much into anything of who's with who. I just think we have a bunch of guys that like each other, and looking forward to coming to this camp. And like I said, I think there's been real excitement and anticipation about getting here.
Somebody else had one.
Scott, did you have one?
Is the plan for Brady to still keep him at left tackle and guard going into this, or is he going to lock into guard?
No, Brady's going to play left tackle and left guard, and we'll have kind of a good battle over there at both those positions. And like I said to you guys, I feel like Brady's one of our better football players. So it's just we got this 2-week training camp at Wofford. I really appreciate Wofford. Really appreciate the people of Spartanburg. We went out to dinner last night, and waitress was talking about how excited she was to have us here. So I really appreciate being here. But during this 2 weeks, we're not going to decide the whole team or anything like that. But this will be a little bit of a grind, and we'll kind of reevaluate after these 2 weeks and say, okay, where are we, and might make some changes here and there. But right now, got to put our heads down. And I think Brady, he'll play both, and see where he's most comfortable and see where the best combination is.
Same thing with Elfline too, at guard and center.
Yeah, probably more center than anything else, but he'll play some guard too. Bose can play some guard too. So we'll move guys around because it's a long season.
Christian's,
Hold on, David, no, I want Joe to go, and then we're done.
I was just gonna ask if Xavier Woods reported, and did everyone report?
Yeah, so everyone we were expecting to report reported. I'll let Scott talk about anything roster-wise later. But Xavier is here. Yeah, so excited to have Xavier here.